Environment and Regeneration Committee, you're hereby summoned to attend the monthly meeting of the E&R Committee, which will be held hybrid meeting conducted remotely via WebEx and physically in the Council Chamber on Wednesday, the 4th of December at 4 p.m. And that's the notice. I will ask Karen to take us through the attendance and apologies.
Thank you, Chair. Alderman Derek Hussey. Not here yet. Alderman Keith Kerrigan is here. Alderman Julie Middleton. Online. Okay, thank you. Councillor Paul Boggs.
Sure, Karen.
Thank you. Councillor John Boyle.
Online.
Online. Good. Councillor Caitlin Deany.
And Shaw online.
Yep. Thank you. Councillor Alex Duffy. Online. Councillor Sean Fleming.
Shaw online. Shaw.
Thank you. Councillor Emma McGinley. Yeah. Councillor Rory McHugh.
Shaw.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Pat Murphy is here. Councillor Declan Norris.
Apologies, Karen.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Martin Riley. Online. No. Yeah.
Online, Karen.
Thank you. Councillor Brian Tierney.
Online, Karen.
Online. Okay, that's it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, members. Next item is the broadcasting statement. I would like to remind everyone physically present at this meeting or in attendance remotely that this meeting will be broadcast live to the internet and will be capable of repeated viewing. The broadcast may be terminated or suspended in accordance with our protocol. Due to your attendance at this meeting, you are consenting to being filmed and to the use and storage of these images for broadcasting or training purposes and for the purpose of keeping historical records and making those records available to the public. Members and approved speakers are reminded to only have their mics and cameras on while speaking at the meeting and to use the chat facility to highlight a request to speak. A copy of the council privacy notice may be found at the council website www.derrystheman.com. Item 4, members, is declaration of members' interest. If anyone wishes to raise any at this stage or raise it as we approach an item. In that regard, members, I don't see anyone indicated. Move to item 5 and chairperson's business and Councillor McGinley.
Chair, and I'll be brief on this. It's just that on behalf of Sinn Féin, we want to say thank you to Councillor Brian Hart, who has been switched from this committee. He's now got on to the governance committee. Just to thank him for his work on this time in committee and to welcome Councillor Paul Boggs, who's joining our team within this committee. So I just wanted that for the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McGinley. And thanks to Councillor Hart for his input and welcome Councillor Boggs. I have no other chairperson's business, members, so we will move on to item 6, which is matters arising from the open minutes of the E&R Committee held on Wednesday. What date was that? Wednesday the 13th, sorry, of November. So if anyone with any matters arising, members. See. Yeah, that's all right, Alderman Hussey. You're all right. Yeah, 272, Alderman Hussey. Yep. Glasses.
Apologies, Chair. Engagement with health and community reference science toilets, and also, has any engagement taken place with health and community on that yet? And also, any update on timeline reference to warm water restorations across the district? Also, in 273, is there any update from business and community on settlement vacancy sites? Will that come by E&R or will it come by business and community? Thank you, Chair.
Through you, Chair. Firstly, I haven't got an update today in relation to the toilets in Simons, but I'll follow that up with colleagues. And again, we'll also follow up the vacancy rates within the other settlements. I know there have been some internal discussion in relation to that. So I would presume we'll probably have a report back through business and culture in terms of that, but I'll find out from members. And I know, and certainly I'll bring Connor in a second, but we have been doing quite a bit of engagement with stakeholders in relation to the war memorials. I don't know, Connor, if you want to update on that.
Yeah, thanks, Karen. Thanks, Chair. Yeah, we've been engaging with the RBL in terms of some of the memorials and the works that they would, I suppose, like to see. And the project team is continuing to push forward on that. We don't have a programme agreed as yet, but as soon as that's agreed, it'll be brought back into members for information.
Thank you, Chair, to the officer.
Members, no other matters arising. We'll move on then to item 7, which is the Council's draft response to the NI Just Transition Commission consultation. That's Karen.
Thank you, Chair. And through you, the purpose of this report is to seek members' feedback on our draft response to the consultation on the establishment of a Northern Ireland Just Transition Commission. Members, you will be aware that DAERA launched a consultation on the establishment of a Northern Ireland Just Transition Commission in November, and this falls within the Climate Change Act 22, which sets out Northern Ireland's framework for tackling climate change and reducing emissions. And the Act places requirements on Northern Ireland's central government departments relating to delivering just transition objectives, and includes requirements for the establishment of a Just Transition Commission, a Just Transition Fund for Agriculture, and an independent Northern Ireland Climate Commissioner. So members, the Just Transition Principle aims to promote fairness during the transition from high emissions to low emissions economy, and to ensure that support is provided to those who are most affected by climate change, particularly those who may have done the least to cause it or may be the least equipped to adapt to its effect. And the full consultation document was attached for members' consideration, and indeed the responses to the consultation will be used to inform the work being conducted by DAERA to establish the public body and to inform the new Commission of the views as to what duties and responsibilities are seen as being important in conducting its role. Members, that you will see attached to the committee report today, Council's proposed draft response to the consultation. And members, we would welcome any comments that members have, either today or indeed back to myself. And we would also be happy for your endorsement of the draft response, subject to any changes that you may have. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Fleming.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the report, Karen. The consultation is comprehensive, as is our council's response. Our party feels strongly that climate change needs to be tackled on an all-Ireland basis, and our party is happy to endorse the response. Thank you.
Other comments, members, or have we a member wishes to start? Councillor McGinley.
Contend to second, just.
Members, that item then is proposed by Councillor Fleming, second by Councillor McGinley. We're in agreement, members. We will move on then, members, to item 8, was application to erect a memorial stone within the city cemetery. That's Connor.
Thanks, Chair. This is to advise and seek members' recommendations with regard to a request received from the Irish Army Veterans Association to erect a memorial plaque to soldiers killed overseas whilst on United Nations peacekeeping duties within the city cemetery. Members will be aware that Council operates and manages a number of cemeteries across the city and district, and in consideration of this, Council have endorsed the Cemetery Management Manual, setting out the operational requirements and included details with regard to the erection of headstones and memorials within cemeteries to better regulate and manage this process. More recently, the cemetery section received an application form and correspondence from Inuva Post 19 Northwest, seeking permission to erect a memorial stone to commemorate members killed abroad whilst on United Nations peacekeeping duties, several of whom are buried within the city cemetery, and the forms were attached as Appendix 1. The Assembly team have reviewed the application and are content that the proposed memorial stone complies with the requirements as set out in the Cemetery Management Manual, and that space can be identified within the cemetery to accommodate this installation. There are no implications in terms of equality rule needs, financial and so on associated with this item, and members are asked to recommend and to endorse the erection of this plaque in line with the cemetery guidelines. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Conor. Alderman Hussey.
Thank you, Chair, and I welcome this particular item and congratulate the veterans on honouring their comrades. We well know that there are folk from Northern Ireland who serve in the Irish Defence Forces, and indeed the other way around. There are people from the Republic who serve in the ground forces, and it's quite right that they should remember their comrades. In this particular instance, I noted that during their visit to City Cemetery, they actually discovered further comrades who rest in the cemetery, and they're to be congratulated on the work that they've done. That's the post-19 Northwest veterans, and I have absolutely no hesitation in proposing the recommendation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Alderman Hussey. Councillor McGinley.
Mega Chair. Thank you to Conor and the team for bringing this report forward. I've been in contact with some of the families that are a part of this group, and they've been eager to see it being moved. So I completely welcome and support and was content to propose, but will second the recommendation that's in the paper. The families and the veterans of the Irish Army Defence Forces who served as peacekeepers have been holding their annual commemorations for many years, but they've just never had somewhere specific to hold it. So this memorial stone will be that place, and where they can remember their comrades, and if it's agreed, it would be a fitting tribute to those. I think that it's poignant that as we're discussing it, that current Irish Army soldiers from this area are UN peacekeepers, and they're currently deployed in Lebanon, as we see the further escalation of the Israeli invasion and the genocide in Gaza, and our thoughts are with them also, but I would ask members to support this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McGinley. Councillor Tierney.
Chair, thank you for bringing me in and fully endorse the comments from the previous speakers. We have no issue in supporting this either. I found the information in the pack quite interesting, and I do note that it meets with all of the requirements, and the cemetery team have gone through that. I just have, I suppose, two questions, Chair, but I don't want to take away from the proposal. We're fully endorsing it. But my two questions would be, number one, where do we think that this memorial stone will go? Because it wasn't clear in the pack of the actual location within the city cemetery. And number two, can we just get an assurance from officers, from Conor or Karen, that the memorial stone, when in place, will not take up any burial space within the city cemetery? As everyone knows, we're running out of burial space in the city cemetery. So it's just that reassurance for the public as well, that that's not going to be hindered in any way. But in the round, Chair, happy to support the recommendation from officers. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. I'm happy to deal with both. We will meet with the group to identify a location within the cemetery, and it's on the basis that it won't take away from a burial plot, and we will look to identify a suitable location that meets their needs, but I say that preserves all of the burial spaces available within the city cemetery. As soon as we have that, I can bring back a further report to members just for information on the location. Thanks, Chair.
Content, Councillor Tierney.
Yeah, absolutely, Chair. Welcome a further report just for information, so we know exactly where it is. And Conor's already alluded to the fact that the burial space will be protected in this, and given that, we have no issue whatsoever. So SDLP are happy to support.
Thank you. Item proposed by Alderman Hussey, seconded by Councillor McGinley. Members, I see no one speaking against. We'll move to item 9, which is the update on memorial inspection policy, and that's Conor.
Thanks, Chair. This is to seek members' comments and recommendations with regard to updating Council's current memorial inspection policy. Members will be aware that Council manages and maintains 10 number operational cemeteries and 20 closed cemeteries across the city and district. In consideration of regulatory requirements, district councils have a general duty under the Burial Grounds Regulations, NI 1992, to maintain the burial ground in good order. Burial ground operators also have duty under the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974 to do all that is reasonably practical to ensure that visitors and those working on burial grounds are not exposed to risks to their health and safety. Issues relating to the inspection of memorial stones have been in the press over the last 15 years or so due to a number of deaths and injuries recorded at burial facilities throughout the UK and Ireland. Guidance on this issued from the HSE and government oversight bodies has developed over these years, taking account of the injuries and fatalities recorded. In consideration of the above, officers have updated the existing policy to ensure Council keeps up to date with changes in the sector, government guidelines and technology. The aim of the policy is to provide a consistent system of managing the safety of memorials within the city and district that is transparent to the public, elected members, staff and voluntary groups who use or have an interest in the safe operation of council cemeteries. The core elements and the intent of the policy remain the same, but the details of how to make it happen have been adopted to the changes in the sector and the organisation. Updating the policy will provide clear guidelines to elected members, cemetery users and staff. It keeps the risks associated with memorials to the forefront and aims to minimise the risks associated with them. There are no further implications associated with this item, and members' comments are invited with regard to the above and to adopt the adopted procedure document. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Conor. First speaker is Alderman Middleton and then Councillor Murphy. Julie.
Thank you, Chair, for letting me in, and also thank you to Conor for the report. I'm happy to endorse on the basis that the report offers a good level of detail on the safety measures that are being brought in. I'm content with the consistency that's going to be offered across the cemeteries, but also for our staff. And I'm also happy that there is a very clear risk and method process in place. And so that with that strategy in mind, we know that the memorial stones will be protected. I have senior workers in action in the likes of Mountcastle and different cemeteries, and I know they take the utmost care and they are respectful. And it will also protect our cemetery visitors and users, but also importantly as well, our staff. So thank you for the report and the work that occurred bringing the report together, but also thank you for the safety aspect that's going to be brought forward. I know you are very safe anyway, but it's great to have the updated policy for us all to read. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alderman Middleton. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Conor. It's important that we have a robust policy and approach to health and safety. So the procedures outlined in the report are straightforward and will implement the expertise of suitably qualified staff to carry out any inspections, and this is to be welcomed. So I'm happy to support and endorse the report.
Just on this, Conor, this is, and I know this is more geared towards the memorials and that. Is there still a bit of the old Ernie? I know the old Ernie one is effectively a closed site there. There was a bit of some of the old building there that was unsafe there. Has that been looked at, or is that likely to just for clarification?
Chair, there is an ongoing process with regard to those closed cemeteries. There were a number of reports done looking at the condition and status of those, particularly that building within Ernie, and we are proposing to do some works at that to stabilise it and to prevent any further, I suppose, deterioration of it. That'll have to be agreed with the Historic Environment Division. There are a number of others as well, a number of ruins within other cemeteries that we're looking at as well to stabilise and to ensure there's no further, I suppose, deterioration in them. But yep, and we'll bring a further report to members in due course on all of that.
Well, thank you, Conor. I was kind of minded that the like of that building may not have fallen under the criteria in regards to that, but I just wanted to touch on it there. But members, I'm minded that was proposed by Alderman Middleton and seconded by Councillor Murphy. I was content, members, and we're in agreement on that item. Those are the items that are open for decision. The items 10 to 14 are open for information, and I will go through them here, members, and you will have opportunity to come in. Yeah, 10 to 15, sorry. This page is one short. This page that I was one short, sorry. Number 10 is lighting and parks. Alderman Hussey.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the report. Moving through to 3.6, it refers to the rural lighting. First, Castle Derg Park. It's actually Castle Park in Castle Derg, and the three areas there. And I'm looking at other lighting. And I'm mindful yourself, Chair, will be well aware of the request for lighting along the River Walk in Castlederg from the bridge to Castle Park in the interest of health and safety, if nothing else. And is there anything in this report that suggests that that is being considered? Thank you, Chair.
Through you, Chair. Yeah, this element of works has been discussed a number of times at our Dark Active Steering Group, and I know that my work colleagues have looked at it, but I think what we need to do is pick that conversation up again and look at it in more detail. And it really pertains about the ownership of the wall and the ownership of that strip of land. So I think there's an opportunity to go back and revisit it. But I do accept the need to look at that in terms of lighting the Castle Park, okay, to the bridge in Castlederg.
Thank you, Chair. We'll wait on that. Thank you.
I do have a list of other speakers, but just touching on that point, we did raise that at some of the steering meetings in regards to that, and even just on Friday night at the Christmas light switch on, you know, I had parked at the church car park and walked across, and there were several young ones who were using their mobile phones to try and walk across that, you know, and whether you know, there's oftentimes that floods, it covers, you know, and it's just not safe, and it is just something. To be fair, I thought we were slightly further on than that, but we'll come back to that again. We'll keep that on the agenda. I have three further speakers here. I have Alderman Middleton, Councillor Riley, Alderman Middleton, and Councillor Boggs. So, Martin Riley.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I didn't put in an item number because there is no item on the agenda. It's usually that we get an update, the flooding issue. I see it's not listed today, so just querying that through you to the officers. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, through you, Chair. Members, we hadn't actually received the update from DFI, so we will include this month's with the next application, or with the next committee report. Apologies, members, we just didn't receive the information in time. So,
okay, thanks, Karen. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Riley. On item 10, we have Alderman Middleton and then Councillor Boggs. Julie.
Thank you, Chair, for letting me in. Just before I start on item 10, I welcome Councillor Riley bringing up flooding, and I understand that information wasn't brought forward on time, but I do think it's important that we speak about flooding in every single meeting. So just a few weeks ago, or not actually a few weeks ago, 1 week ago, I was literally up to my shins in water in someone's garden. So we do have a major flooding issue, which we need to speak about every single month without fail. But just on item 10, so again, thanks, Chair, for allowing me to speak. Could I ask for, and this is just for my understanding, an outline or a summary? I'm specifically referencing Drumahoe Park, but just in general, lighting in parks. So obviously Alderman Cook brought up the lighting in parks, and I see it's in the pack here as well, that the planning permission is passed. So what is the actual process for funding lighting and having it installed once the planning permission is through in one of our council-owned areas? With what happened in Drumahoe Park specifically, the horrific incident, one does wonder, you know, would it be a lot safer with lighting, and could we get a move on with that? But I just would like to understand what is the process with funding and installation, just so I can better understand the process. Thank you so much.
yeah, through you, Chair, members, I can come in on that. And as you can see in your report, we've outlined the, if you like, the parks that we are currently progressing potential lighting schemes on, Drumahoe Park being one, and indeed Bay Road and I suppose Craigavon Bridge out towards out the line as well. And members, really, once we have actually brought those, we're progressing those projects to get them ready, as and when we have fully funded projects. They are capital projects on the capital project list. We are engaging with the Department for Infrastructure at the minute, who have potential part funding opportunities for active travel opportunities, and I suppose lighting can technically fall within active travel projects. So we are working with the department on that. And indeed, members, then in terms of the balance of the funding, that will be something that members will be considering as part of Council's funding strategy. And as members will be aware from the Capital Working Group, the proposals that we're putting forward for you know, a whole range of capital projects. So they sit within that. At an operational level, we are doing everything that we possibly can to get these projects ready, so that when we have fully funded opportunities, that they can be taken forward as quickly as possible. And we will continue to do that where we can. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Alderman Middleton. Councillor Boggs.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you to yourself and Councillor McGinn as well for the welcome to the committee at the start of the meeting. Just under 2.2, and this is kind of more so for my own information, but I'll use the example of the new Strabane North Greenway. When we're developing new projects, so not lighting existing spaces or existing parks or greenways, when we're developing new projects, how do we try and look there at the cost and benefit in terms of like footfall? So obviously we can't measure footfall if it's a new project. And so how do we then inform ourselves about whether we include lighting in the design of a new project, such as Strabane North or any that might come down the line? And what consideration is given, I suppose, at any design stage? And I know every project will be different, but to different types of lighting, you know, when we talk about a peri-urban or a rural setting, maybe it isn't suitable for your run-of-the-mill street lighting in terms of lampposts with lights at the top, but lower lighting on pathways and that kind of thing. So I'm just keen to know from officers what or how we consider that, or how we try and measure the benefit of that any lighting would have in terms of a new project. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, through you, Chair. Members, if I come in and then perhaps if Colin wants to add to this when I've sort of covered as much as I can. And I suppose really, members, we have to take all of these projects as it's outlined in the report on, I suppose, a case-by-case basis, depending on their location, depending on footfall. Also, members, we have got, unfortunately, it's from time to time to consider any potential funding opportunity that's available to us and whether or not we can take forward the project in order to meet the funder's deadline, and indeed, you know, whether or not there's requirements for planning permission or specific requirements in relation to environmental constraints, etc., depending on the location. And so from time to time, what we try and do is progress you know, a project as best we can, and we will consider lighting as part of the engagement process. With that, sometimes we're able to you know, plan everything and include lighting if it's appropriate at the start of the project. In other cases, we will progress as much as we can and then consider how we may be able to light projects in the future. So I don't know whether, Colin, there's anything more you can add to that.
Yeah, through you, Chair, just to add a little bit of detail on the specification of lighting. Obviously, lighting are to a certain standard in terms of the height of the columns, okay, and the spacing of the columns. And what we do is we have lighting engineers who actually tell us what those spacings are and those requirements are. But what we've moved and what we use now at the moment is smart lighting, and the first of these schemes was Stratfoil. And this lighting is smart in so far as that it's energy efficient. Okay, it's environmentally friendly in terms of like bats, which are a protected species, and really the light dims when nobody's going past it, and it brightens up in a sequence. The other benefit of being smart lighting is that we have an app, okay, and if a light is out, well, it tells us which light is out and what the fault is to get it remedied. So that's the progression with lighting at the moment. There is more of a capital investment in terms of putting this infrastructure in, but you would hope in terms of then that the lighting lasts longer, it's more energy efficient, more environmentally friendly, that there's a payback over a period of time.
Councillor Boggs, are you content with the response?
Yep, content. Thanks, Chair. Thanks, officers.
Thank you. Members, item 11, active travel delivery plan, public consultation. Anyone wish to pass comment? No. No. Item 12, as Carrigan's delivered public consultation. Alderman Hussey.
Thank you, Chair. I realise this is a consultation from another body, and they're simply asking for our opinions. But I have expressed my opinion before on the previous work that has been done within the overall Northwest Greenways, particularly the Lifford through to Castlefin and beyond that particular greenway. And I've looked at the options, and it's a road that some of us know quite well that we would use quite regularly coming down to the city here. And I note two of the options. I think it's two of the options. Well, some of them vary, but basically the three options are surround above the R236, on the R236, and below the R236, which is Riverside basically. And my opinion on greenways is that they should be off-road where possible. We realise the difficulties that will exist with land purchase, with topography, etc. And I simply want to say that my option would be option E, which would be a personal preferred option, knowing that stretch of road quite well. And I believe actually it would link in better with what the Strabane folk are looking for coming out from Lifford to I forget, Port Hall, that sort of link up. So that would be my thoughts on that particular agenda item. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Alderman Hussey. Yeah. Comments are noted. I agree with you on that one. That's where it's the road we would be on. Item 13 is building control applications. I don't see a rush. Item 14 is proposing introduction of a loading bay. Councillor McGinley.
Just a quick question, in relation, I know it's DFI that do this and they send us to just notify us basically, but am I right in saying that loading bay is outside the spar that's on Park Avenue?
Not 100% sure.
No, I'm just conscious, I'd be up and down that street 2-3 times a day and it's congested at best. Most of the time it's a bit of the wacky races when you're trying to get up and down it. So I've no issue with it, but it probably would alleviate some of that because sometimes you're having vans that are stopping. So I don't have an issue with it, but I wasn't sure when I looked at it if it was definitely outside the spar or not, but no, that's grand. Thank you.
It is.
Councillor Kenny, is your hand still up, or would you like to come in on this item?
No, Chair, I'd like to come on this item. I suppose first of all to declare an interest. Through our constituency office, we've done a bit of work around this particular report with some of the business owners and up around there. It is outside the spar on Park Avenue, and as Councillor McGinley has said, it's badly needed. I think it's definitely something that the council should support, and I would like to think that with the new loading bay in place, it will take off some of the traffic pressures up and around there. So it's definitely something that we within the SDLP would welcome. But as I say, just that declaration of interest as we had done some work around this.
Thank you, Councillor Kenny. Members, on to item 15, which is the Maboy update. Does anyone wish to pass comment? No. In that case, members, I'll be looking for a proposal to go into confidential. Proposed Councillor McGinley, seconded Councillor Fleming.